Hello, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside again. I just thought I'd do another little quick video while I was at my lathe and everything was set up. This is obviously my micro lathe, the one I use, quite often to do quick things like, pivoting and pinion work, pivoting, not pinion work, pivoting and polishing and things like that, and generally making bushes and stuff like that, because obviously they're not big bushes normally. I mean, even if you go to the likes of grandfather clocks, you're probably looking at maybe making a bush probably, biggest probably 12 or 13 mil maybe. So it's no big problem to do it on this. It'll actually get it. Well, maybe not quite that big. I think we're going to be 10 mil at the max with this one. This particular lathe. It has a scroll chuck on it, which is quite handy, and we have our 2 bars here which will tighten your lathe up like that. Tailstock, got various end pieces for it. Obviously that's to centre things up. There's a rotating centre there. There's this little gadget which I've never used yet. I'm not sure about it. I haven't sort of this thing here, sorry, I haven't sort of looked at it, so I believe it's to sort of centre things very accurately, but I don't know. I haven't really had any need to worry about it. We obviously have our chuck. Everything screws on. Everything that screws onto this end here will also screw onto that end there. So that's okay. That's pretty handy. You can try and keep it accurate, get your tailstock really accurate by putting the nose, the 2 cones in the noses in, the centres in. Obviously we have a that type of Morse taper type centering device. Yeah, it moves along. As I say, it's only for very small cut. It's nothing big. The only addition I had to make really that I was handy with this lathe was this quick change tool post, which I talked to you in my last video about. Oh yeah, I meant to say in my last video, I might try and put a caption on it to say, obviously any drilling you're going to do with pinions and everything, you always obviously have to center drill first in order for you to get a little start on that hole, for you to drill it. Then no matter what type of drill bit you're using, don't take a chance and just try and drill it. It doesn't work out. It will be off center, or you'll snap the drill. Simple as that. You need to definitely center drill it first. You need to get that little mark there, and there's various gadgets out that actually can help you with that, like a center finder. But obviously you can't really do that easily with it when there's a pinion on there. That's really for when you're doing your French stuff and things like that. I'll give you the demo on that one day, but there is a video online that they deal with that. So maybe check that out. I'll try and find it sometime, and I'll actually list these videos that I think it would be handy to watch. As I say, I've mentioned before, Tommy Jobson, fantastic stuff, really fun. I really enjoy his video. I enjoy all types of videos, anything like this. I mean, I really do. I mean, I haven't got enough time in the day, unfortunately, to sift through them. But yeah, I mean, the good, the bad, whatever. I mean, all of them have, something to add to our dying industry, and make things a bit, hopefully we go along making things simpler, explain things. I particularly don't try to make the job difficult whatsoever. I sort of look at it from a really practical point of view, because it is engineering after all, and engineering's fantastic. I like anything to do. I watch loads of videos sometimes about, I'll binge watch things like about lathes or mills, or I'll just binge watch. Whether I agree with some of the stuff, it doesn't matter to me. I always find there's something in it, and I admire these people for having a go, taking the time and trying to, at least try to give some kind of education, with this type of stuff. I mean, when I started, nothing like YouTube or nothing. I mean, it was all, getting shouted at all the time, and making loads of mistakes. I mean, the thing with antique clocks is obviously you don't want to make too many, because it can be costly. it's best to go through and look, and there's someone out there that'll have done it. There's someone out there that'll have done it, and hopefully they'll have put a video up there for you to look at. So I recommend any of the videos. There will be a few people I recommend, which I'll go through some, and I'll look at them carefully, and I'll say, yeah, they like Tommy Jobson. Highly recommend Tommy, no problem. His work is fantastic. I really enjoy his videos. Yeah, and he does give great practical advice as well, and he doesn't seem like a person that tries to make the job too hard to me. I think he gives great advice. I mean, he's got some lovely equipment like shoebling. He's got a nice shoebling lathe. I mean, I've been after one for forever. Always been a little bit too expensive, but you know, for what I do, the amount of stuff I do, I think Tommy's at the real high end of the restoration. I mean, he's taking the real old stuff on the, lovely stuff. I'd love to do that. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, we've got to earn our living, so we have to take the good with the bad, or we try not to have too many opinions on people bringing clocks in, because it's someone's grannies or grandfathers or great grandfathers or whatever. And so we need to look at the situation, and we can help, we can do it. If we can't, we'll say we don't think it's possible. Very rare. Most things are possible. If you've got the tools, we've got some decent tools. We've got a few lathes, a mill. We've got a pillar drill at the side here, a little micro pillar drill at the side. That's really handy just for quick stuff. Anyway, getting back to this lathe, the only thing I've added to it is this quick change tool post. Okay, as I said in the previous video, it's about 70 to 80 quid on eBay, and it's a pretty handy thing. Screw at the bottom, goes into your cross slide. I'm looking at the camera from behind while I'm doing this. It does get a bit difficult, and I always mount it up to the edge there, tighten it down like so. Right, you can have it either side, each way round, whatever you want to do. You can mount it the other way around, which is probably better actually. Yeah, that's the best way. And obviously we have this handle on. What this handle does, it actually, if you look where my finger is, there's a plunger, and it pushes that plunger out, and that grips your post. So obviously you put your cutting tool in here, put it down to where you want it to be. A bit fiddly because it's Chinesium, and so, as I've said in the previous video, not everything's that accurate. It's not smooth. I mean, you can get some great stuff for the Myfords. I'll turn that around just for now, just to show you. But you get the general plan, don't you? Yeah. So that tool post goes on like that. Okay, and it's getting stopped by the aid of this grub screw at the top with an Allen key fit and a nut. Okay, so you'd put your tool, your cutting tool. Just let me get some Allen keys. I should have it set up, but I do things pretty much on the fly. So that's what I do. I don't rehearse it or not like that. It takes too long for me to do that. Right. So cutting tools. I use variations. I use HSS type steel. I think they give you a finer finish. That's just my opinion, but I'm pretty sure they give you a better finish. High speed steel, sorry, they give you a better finish. You've got carbide, where you've the tips are, or you can change the tips about. Quite expensive, but you can change the tips about. We have a lovely bench grinder in there, a really nice. It's got a nice slow speed on it as well. It's really good. It's pretty heavy duty. The workshop rattles when you start it off. What you'd obviously do, you'd put your thing in here. That's actually a cut-off tool I use. It's a piece of high-speed steel. Just ground it down so it's a cut-off tool. So that would go in there. You tighten it up. Obviously, you've got to get it to your centre of your tip. So what you could use is your tailstock, bring it over, put that on an angle. You know, this type of effort. Put it on an angle. Put your nose in, your centering tool in. And I can't. Yeah. Okay. Put your centering tool in. Get your thing up to the centre. Centre it up, tighten it. Sometimes your screw won't go all the way down, or you know, whatever. But you know, obviously with the lathe, you've got to have things as rigid as possible. Rigid is the rule. If you look at some of the videos, Mr. Pete's videos, for instance, especially with a cut-off tool, it's got to be rigid. So that's where that'd be. That probably is not the best tool for that particular thing, because we've actually come up here, so it's not as rigid as it could be. You'd be better off getting it where it was actually in the holder properly, you know, everything was there. Then give that a good tighten on your cut-off tools. Yeah, so that's that. But you know, rigid is the situation. We have other types of tools. I'll just show you. If you look in the end of this, this is an insert tool. This is so you can come outwards if you needed to. We have obviously the interior where you just come straight along. You know, you sort of be in here and you'd come along this way like that, going towards the chuck. Okay, that's that one. Very similar thing I have here, which is with the Drummond. Obviously, you know, you've got to understand you can't buy parts for them, so you have to make do. You have to make stuff up what you want to do. So that's a tool post on that. Now I couldn't get the height right, so what I had to do is I had to mill off part of the dovetail in order for it to slip in and go down further, so that I could get my centre height. Because obviously if you don't get your centre height, I mean, with the thing, it doesn't cut properly at all. I mean, you end up with nibs on the end, and you know, nibs at the, you know, as you're going along. So it just doesn't cut properly. It doesn't, you know, doesn't do the job. So obviously you've got to get that centre height dead right. I think this was off a Unimat, a Unimat tool post, and it fitted on the Drummond. I mean, I actually drilled that hole out a little bit. Again, we've got a mill. That's not a problem. We can do this type of thing and get it pretty much blob on. So there's no problem there with that. But that's the same thing. Now that's only a single tool post, but you really only use, you know, the first one anyway, and you just put your tools in and out. I mean, I don't feel this is big enough for me to be swinging it round everywhere and, you know, having, you know, various tool posts. So I just use the single, you know, the single thing, and I just, you know, to have the bit, maybe have the tools. And I don't really, being honest with you, I don't really leave the tools in, because, you know, especially the carbide ones, they get chipped and damaged and stuff like that. So what we'll tend to do is take them out and put them, you know, at the side or at the back on this tray here. I mean, whatever. But, you know, the idea is, I mean, you see some really nice Myford stuff where it's got a couple of, you know, different, you know, sections on, and it's got a couple of, you know, drill bit. I just find it just dead simple. Just let's just, you know, do it this way. I mean, the thing about lathes is that the problem I always used to have is, you know, you're using shims to lift them up and down, you know, lift the bit up and down to get your centre height. I mean, absolute pain in the backside. I mean, so this just saves all that. So literally as soon as I got this, I just tool post, quick change tool post, got that, didn't even hesitate, didn't think about it, just got it, because it just gives you that much more of versatility. But yeah, that's the situation on the quick change tool post more than anything. That was what it was about. And obviously, you know, you can adjust your height from here by using this nut up and down, and you can adjust it on this handle if you like as well. It'll slip up and down. I mean, but pretty much you can do it, get a good, you know, get it centered pretty fast. So you're not spending absolutely hours, which is something we haven't got them hours. We've got to try to, you know, do it in a reasonable length of time. We don't want to be wasting hours messing about with shims and stuff like that. So quick change tool post got to be the way to go. As I say, the Unimat that Unimat there, that was fantastic. I think it was about 45 quid on eBay. And I mean, honest to God, it's absolutely spot on. There's no problem with it at all. Obviously, you don't want to really have to modify things like with mills and stuff like that, but you know, there's nothing wrong in it. You know, that's what it's all about. I mean, clock making. I mean, often with the older clocks, sometimes you've got to make the tools to do the job, just like my previous video where, you know, so that we can do some pinion work, pivot work rather, you know. So you have to make things often, and that's part of the fun I find. Often you find, you know, you buy job lots of stuff in from auction or clockmaker's workshop or, you know, something like that, and you'll find bits in there that you don't even know what they are. You haven't got a clue, and the reason being for that is it's simply, you know, the watchmaker or clockmaker, he's made something, a jig up as he's gone along, which, you know, that's what it's all about. And what you've also got to consider, very few tools on the market now. You certainly can't buy Chinese ones because they're just not made for it really. There's certain ones that work, obviously, like we can, you know, do these tool posts and stuff like that. They'll do a job for you. Obviously, if you were manufacturing a lot of stuff, they wouldn't work well for you, unless you got the really expensive stuff, really expensive stuff, because it just isn't there. Although they quote all these facts and figures about how accurate they are, I mean, I don't know about that. You know, that would have to be really looked at, wouldn't it? Anyway, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside. Hope you're enjoying the videos. If you do, please give us a thumbs up and a like, because it encourages me to do a few more. I'll try and cover videos that people are asking me for, such as silver and dials and stuff. I really will. For me, it's just about me time. But, you know, I really will do my best for you. And as I say, they're always on the fly, by the way. So, you know, it's a situation I feel in the mood, get me camera out, get my phone on the tripod, and let's do a video. And, you know, tonight I've done a couple. Hopefully they will be helpful to people, especially where these Chinese lathes are concerned, because, you know, some of it's a mystery. Some of it, when you read about them, you think, will that do the job? Well, often if you've got the facility like we have, I mean, not everybody has, I understand that, but you know, we can pretty much do most things now. We can make things work. So there you go on that. As I say, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside, signing off. Have a great evening. As I say, give us that thumbs up and a like, and let's see what we can do in the future. Thank you.